Muy buenas a todos. Hoy tenemos aquí el honor de tener a Matteo Mancuso con nosotros. Matteo, thank you for being here in Barcelona.
Thank you so much.
It's been a year since we started asking Yamaha to bring you here. So
Wow, yeah.
It was a long journey. Matteo, it's a name that in the industry everyone is saying your name. We got here Larry Basilio. She was talking about you. How did you support that?
Yeah, it's of course I'm really happy about it when someone like Bay or Bonamassa are talking about you. Yeah, of course that makes me really happy. But at the same time, on the other hand, it makes you feel you a little bit anxious sometimes.
Yeah, the expectations, right?
Because the expectations now are really high because all these names are talking about me. So basically, guys that I listened all the time when I was a little kid.
How did you start?
Yeah, I started when I was basically around 10 or 11 years old. I started because of my father, because he's also a guitar player, he also plays guitar. And I always watched him, when I was a little kid, because I wanted to know more about that instrument. And I remember the first time I listened to him, he was playing classical guitar and he was playing with fingers.
Oh.
So that's why I started with fingers, because
That's the reason why.
Yeah, I thought that every guitar should be played like that. So I didn't know that electric guitar should be played with the pick,
So Matteo, which are your influences in the guitar? Artists, bands?
Well, the first influences were for sure bands, especially from the 70s.
Okay.
So I was listening a lot to Led Zeppelin, of course, Deep Purple, but the one that shocked me the most at first was Jimi Hendrix, of course, like a lot of guitar players.
Which is the riff that you still play from the early journey, but
I think one of them is for sure Purple Haze. Purple Haze is one of my favorite Hendrix songs. It's still one of my favorites to play. So yeah, Purple Haze, definitely.
It comes to us that you have this quartet, new quartet. You told me before off cameras that you dropped this new album few days ago.
Yeah, it was the St. Valentine's Day.
Okay.
The 14th of February.
Perfect day.
We dropped the album, yeah. Even it was crazy fusion stuff.
It's like a Dream Theater but updated, right? I mean, all of you are virtuosism in it's new generation.
Yeah, we tried to, fuse a lot of stuff. So
you like to call it that way or not? Or you're trying to respect?
No, I really love Dream Theater, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of different influences on this project. And I like to describe it like, sound design influences, because all the pieces were written by the keyboard player, Emanuele Montesanti. And it's an incredible sound designer for keyboards, keys, and then we fused that into our jazz background. So there are a lot of jazz solos, for example, but sometimes with a dance music in the background. So it's really like, I don't know how to categorize it. It's really something new to me.
For the young players that they are seeing this, which is your advice?
I think my suggestion is, first of all, study more.
Okay.
Because there is a difference between obsessive studying and organized studying. And now I'm more on that organized studying, because I don't have that much time like when I was younger, for example.
And how many hours do you play a day? I mean, normally?
I think 2-3 hours. Not because I don't have to practice that much, but because sometimes I don't have the time.
And you think you have to improve?
Yeah, I think you can improve with organized practicing and not obsessive practicing.
Guitars, which is your favorite guitar?
I wanted to achieve the same sound that I was listening to the other players. And because of that, I started with a Strat style guitars because of Jimi Hendrix and Richie Blackmore.
With 3 single coils?
With 3 single coils, classical Strat style, yeah. So my first guitar was actually a Strat. Then I gravitated towards more humbucker style guitars because I was listening a lot to Eric Johnson, and it's still one of my favorite players. And about the sound, it's one of my favorites. And I think you can achieve that sound more easily with the humbuckers rather than the single coils. Okay. So that's why I discovered Revstars.
How does it start? I mean, why Yamaha? How does this relation start?
You know, it started in 2017. Okay. Back then, you know, I was an American-made guitars guy. You know? And one of my favorite players was Angus Young. He was always playing an SG. So and they told me about this new Yamaha Revstar, and I played it. I immediately liked it because it was very similar to the SG, actually, sound speaking, you know. And yeah, the thing that stood out for me was the versatility of that guitar.
Your music, you came up with riffs that you have in mind and you put it all together, or you have like a theme to...
Yeah, I think it changed all over the years, you know. Okay. Back when I was younger, I was more riff-oriented, and there are a lot of riff-based songs on the album, of course. Then later on, I changed the way I think about composition, you know. And I always try to do something non-guitaristic. Okay. But at the same time, it has to sound good on guitar, you know. So I sometimes try to find a melody in my head without having the guitar on my hands, you know. Always try to not be the slave of the guitar, because sometimes we get too stuck on the muscular memory thing. So I want to make something not really guitaristic, but it also sounds good on the guitar.
Let's talk about your album. I mean, it's an instrumental album, right?
Yes.
Yes. When it's gonna be released?
It will be released the 21st of April.
And you have like a special thematic for the album, or it's just play it and enjoy it?
The album is called The Journey, and it means the journey I had during these years. So a lot of it's not really stylistic based, not only rock, not only jazz. It's a mix of a lot of things that I listened through these years. So that's why The Journey, and.
It's like the soundtrack of your adventures during these years.
Yeah. The first songs are more like the teenager songs, you know, more riff-based, and the last songs of the album are more, you know, stylistically changed a little bit, so more jazz-oriented maybe, but with a lot of influences, really.
But it's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you for being here in Barcelona. I can't wait to have you another time, so let's see you in the future, right?
Yeah, for sure.